good, people? This is Jason of the Was It Good Though podcast where we discuss movies and TV shows. And this is just going to be straight for the socials. I am about to break down Raq and Kanan season 5 episode 1, By Blood. And before I begin, of course, please hit, like, share, follow us on TikTok and all the other social media platforms because, again, we do this each and every Tuesday on our bigger platform. But, hey, I'm just want to keep this straight on the socials. First and foremost, I want to say, Sasha Penn, what you doing, my guy? Huh? What you doing, my guy? But in all seriousness, man, this episode felt like an old Power, reminiscent of an old Power episode. Now, in my personal opinion, Raq and Kanan is my favorite of the shows that we've had. Yes, even it's better to Power to me, just based on the family dynamics, just based on everything we have, all the different pieces that are at play. And I'm gonna keep it a buck, man. This is a strong ledge. I may have Raq over Ghost as Power characters. She is a great character, from the fashion to the way she talked, the way she carried herself, the way she handles her business, and she's just a beautiful, stunning chocolate sister. I know somebody may say, why does that matter? But we don't get dark-skinned representation as a lead character in shows, but then you don't get them where they're ruthless, unapologetic, and move the way they want to. So being able to see that on the screen is amazing to me, and I feel like that needs to be highlighted just based on how she does. But of course, her and Kanan, they've been having beef. Kanan wants to carve out his own path in life. She doesn't necessarily want to run him anymore. She was trying to, she did at one point, yes, she was a bit overprotective, but she's in the streets. Why wouldn't you be overprotective of your son? You want to make sure this hothead ass boy don't get fucked up out here. But of course, Kanan is a hothead and he's gonna get fucked up out here. It takes years, but hey, it happens. But prior to that, Lou and Partisan Fontaine's character have been out looking for Unique, because Unique is back and he's back with the vengeance. He's fucking up their product. He's fucking up the streets. He's fucking up everything that they have going for them. And in this situation, what they end up doing, they end up kidnapping his family. And we know it never ends well when you go into the streets and you start messing with families. Of course, Partisan ends up on his deathbed in this situation, but that also leaves Pranessa, which is Unique's girlfriend, and kids. She says she's tired of the street life, and a mother will be willing to do anything for their kid, which, of course, again, that's just kind of foreshadowing for Raq in this series. So she leaves, and of course, now Unique back is against the wall. He goes to Snap and Pop, who really has been playing a 4D dimensional chess game throughout the entire series, playing Raq, playing Unique. Also, the biggest player they playing right now is Kanan. We already know they killed, they had Famous killed. They also had Crystal killed. These are the two people that Kanan loved the most, but they have spinned it around to make it look and seem as if Raq was the ones that took them out, and that is not the case, which is how this episode begins, the same way the previous season ended. Now, Kanan has the gun on his mother, about to take him out. I'm already, Tariq, Ghost, no, we cannot repeat this situation. The bad kid against the parent, that may be a street story, but in most street stories, the one person that they respect, they mama. So that is something that I didn't understand. But of course, that isn't how this went on. And yes, R.I.P. for Lulu. I shed some tears. I cannot lie. I cried, man, because I was not expecting Lou's story. From him wanting to be he's the baby of the family. He Alcoholism really took him over. He was the gun in the family. He just didn't want their life anymore. They put him in a mental facility to get him together, get him back together, and he fixed himself. He fixed his life. Got back out. He started doing music. You know, the music or the labels were messing him over in what he wanted to do. He began making music with Raq. That music began to be beautiful. She began to trust him again. She began to come to, that was her confidant besides her father, that she can actually come to when she needed assistance. So Lou comes into the house to assist with Kanan, and Kanan mistakenly turns around and shoots him, trying to kill his bodyguard that also pulled up trying to assist, and he gets popped, man. R.I.P. And this is where the coldness comes from. She takes care of Kanan once again, and she dumps Lou on the side of the road. Now, that's a bit much to me. I do feel as if they should have at least given Juke and Marvin the up and up on what happened, but more than likely they probably would have took out Kanan, and there is no power without Kanan. So that was a unique situation. Of course, within this episode, you kind of see Marvin crashing out, going through it, and I cried again because nobody want to see starving Marvin going through it, man. That's my guy, and it just hurt to see him. It hurt to see Jukebox go through that again, and it's just so much, and it's so bad. Now, of course, this situation leads back to Unique. Now, all this blowback is on Unique, and it's Kanan's blowback, per usual. It's Kanan mess that goes back to Unique. Now Unique is at war or in a beef with the rest of Raq's crew. Raq she has to stay hard on this situation. She can't change her mind in it because it's her son that she's protecting. Her son did some bullshit. Now she has to cover up the bullshit. Of course, all this blowback leads back to Unique having to go to Snap and Pop for work because nobody wants to mess with him. Even in this situation, it leads even back to the Italians, which of course Stefano and Phil are at beef due to Unique starting this or triggering this battle between them. Phil stabs Stefano survives. That means it's going to be hell in the streets. But we all know there is a new character being introduced into this season, just blowing on by. It is Breeze. Yes, the infamous Breeze, the big player that brought in Kanan, Tommy, and Ghost. We all know the story of Breeze, but now we get to see the actual introduction and what led to what ends up happening to Breeze. Breeze is the new hot kid, and Snap and Pop are trying to keep him on a leash. I can already see it going the wrong way. They will not make it out this season. I do not see him making it out of this chapter of the story because you're trying to put somebody on a leash who is not into being put on a leash. We get introduced to him in the season finale of season 4, but we get reintroduced to him here. Well, he has a fight club where you must kill the other person. You got to put him down, and he's going to put you down. He brings in Kanan into the crew. He brings him into the fold, but he also brings Unique into the fold. So this is a unique situation that will be cooking up. But man, Kanan, they have made him a true villain. I will say it started that way because he was being a hater in the first season. Like that's how he was introduced. He was introduced as a hater in the beginning, but now he's just on fuck shit. So a ruthless person. So if you want that ruthless, cold person within the series, like I said, you do have Raisin, or we have Kanan. He's being raised, or lack thereof being raised. Here, they shouldn't have called it that. Should have just been called Kanan because that nigga ain't been raised. Yeah, man. But what are your thoughts? How are you feeling about episode 1? I definitely thought it was a very good episode. Like I said, it definitely gave me those power feels that I've been missing. We know that Tommy and Tariq legacy show has finally been greenlit. But we also know once this series ends, we are going into Power Origins, where they're going to show Tommy and Ghost. I have a sneaky suspicion that they'll appear in this season. It's a possibility. They may not be introduced to the next show, but I feel they may be introduced this season so we can at least see who they are. They may not have a big role. They may just be like background characters. But again, as I said, comment, like, share with your friends. Let us know how you're feeling about the show so far. This is the Was It Good Though podcast about movies and TV shows. Until next time.